Ist mit ihrem fetten Hintern auf den Boden geknallt?
Medal of Honor Frontline is one of those games that will surprise PlayStation 2 owners by dazzling them with great gameplay, visual flair, and some of the best audio yet heard on Sony's flagship console. The game is actually on the same level as Medal of Honor Allied Assault for the PC and presents the same cinematic approach with a heavy emphasis on scripted events that the PC game did. While Frontline is not entirely without flaw, the game that it presents is more than adequate to make up for any shortcomings that it might have. The game quite literally teaches the player how to swim by throwing them off the boat. The very first mission of the game is the storming of the beach at Normandy, the D-Day battle made infamous most recently by its grisly depiction in Steven Spielberg's film Saving Private Ryan. In the opening sequence, you'll find yourself loaded in Higgins' boat on approach. This cinematic intro allows you to look around and take in your surroundings as sister boats are torn to pieces by strafing German aircraft. Seconds later, as your boat hits the beach and the door drops, an artillery shell explodes and sends you head over heels into the sea, along with the rest of the infantry accompanying you. You're then treated to a few seconds of submerged chaos as many in your group are cut down by enemy fire before reaching shore. Emerging from water to an intense battlefront, you meet with your captain who charges you with rescuing allies under heavy fire. Needless to say, this level is extremely effective in its goal, which is to get players pumped up right away and showcase the strengths of the game engine. The graphics in Medal of Honor Frontline are top-notch. Character models are excellent, with expressive faces and detailed uniforms. Their animations are also very well done, complete with a variety of death animations dependent on what part of the body is shot or bludgeoned. While there isn't any blood in the game, this is purely for rating purposes. Some of the death animations can be downright gruesome, as soldiers will clap a hand on the back of their skull when they're shot in the head, look at non-existent blood on their palm, then topple over dead. One negative point that should be touched on is the textures in the game. Like many PlayStation 2 titles, they're a bit washed out and blurry. For the most part, they aren't colorful either. This minor complaint can be overlooked though. For the most part, you won't be spending your time examining every wall or road. One other shortcoming of note is that the frame rate can dip on occasion. The game generally moves along at a solid rate of 60 frames per second when things are more relaxed, but as explosions start kicking up particle effects, that number can drop to 30 frames per second or so. If there is one aspect of Frontline that's entirely without flaw, it's the audio. Now, the Medal of Honor series has always been well known for its great audio, and Frontline is definitely no exception to this. The music is outstanding, and it calls to mind HBO's miniseries Band of Brothers. The action music is very driving. It presents a very good force when you're fighting your way through some of the more action-packed levels. Then also when you're making your way through the countryside and using your sniper skills, the music drops to a more ambient tone and gives a very good atmosphere. The sound effects are also top-notch. I mean, if you listen closely, you can hear every gunshot that's fired anywhere in the level. You can hear your footsteps as they vary according to terrain. If you're stepping on grass, you can hear that. If you're stepping on wood, you can tell the difference. The voice acting is also excellent. There are a number of different characters in the game with speaking parts. And another bonus is that all of the German soldiers actually speak German. The game also supports Dolby surround sound, so those with the appropriate equipment will undoubtedly want to show off their home theater with this game. Medal of Honor Frontline is an excellent game overall. If you were to break it down into several different facets, it still shines on all fronts. On consoles, there are shooters, and then there are shooters, and Medal of Honor Frontline is one of the top-notch games that can stand toe-to-toe with the best that the genre has to offer. If you have any kind of interest in shooters on consoles, then you'll definitely want to check this game out.